Well, so far, there have been few public signs of progress in talks to keep the nation from falling over that fiscal cliff. Republicans agreeing in principle on the need to raise revenue, but Democrats apparently offering very little in the way of specific spending cuts. House Speaker John Boehner not mincing words moments ago.
First, despite the claims that the president supports a balanced approach, the Democrats have yet to get serious about real spending cuts. And secondly, no substantive progress has been made in the talks between the White House and the House over the last 2 weeks. Listen, this is not a game. Jobs are on the line, the American economy is on the line, and this is a moment for adult leadership.
On the other side of the aisle, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he's still waiting for a, quote, reasonable proposal from Speaker Boehner. So while we're all waiting, Kansas Congresswoman Jenkins is a member of the Ways and Means Committee. She's also the new vice chair of the House Republican Conference, a new leadership position for her. Congresswoman, welcome to the show and congratulations on your new role.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
For some of our viewers who you may be a new face to, just a little background. You grew up on a dairy farm in Kansas. You have a background in accounting and economics, served as state treasurer as well. So you're the perfect person really to talk to about this fiscal crisis. We keep on hearing about these spending cuts and the desire to get specific. But for you, Congresswoman, where specifically would these spending cuts come from?
Well, I think Republicans in the House are going to do everything they can to avert this fiscal crisis that we're staring down. And we have proposed a balanced approach, one that puts revenues on the table, but also addresses the real problem in Washington, and that's the out-of-control spending. I think people are willing, the American people are willing to put revenues into the federal government if they had some confidence that the lawmakers were spending it properly. But we all know that there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse that we have to address. Our autopilot spending programs, first and foremost, the Medicare program, and until the Democrats can come forward and be willing to put some of those spending cuts on the table, it's going to be very difficult to move forward.
You know, when we hear spending cuts, for example, for Medicare, it's easy to let our imagination get the best of us, which is why I'm asking for specifics. And I know when you were state treasurer, and even now as a lawmaker in D.C., you've mentioned, for example, getting rid of subsidies, for example. So can you be more specific for us today about, you know, if we're talking about cuts for Medicare, what does that really look like? If it's subsidies, which ones would you get rid of?
Absolutely. The driver of our debt is the Medicare program, and the House Republicans have a proposal on the table, a bipartisan proposal that sets everyone who is 55 and older aside, makes no changes for those people, but for those of us that haven't quite hit that 55 mark, we've got a few years to adjust to any changes. We're suggesting a slight income adjustment for folks that are making $1 million or more, that they forego some of their benefit, and an age adjustment, asking the American people to gradually work a few months at a time, more up to 2 years on their working life. Those two changes are the largest changes, and they make a difference. They make no changes to the current seniors. And it gets us, in our House budget, it got the balanced budget, which we are all looking for.
Those are good, some specifics for us to take a hold of. We heard a little bit about that during the campaign for president. And the president now has been either complimented or criticized for what some are calling a campaign-style approach to his side of this negotiation. He's really gone out in public. He has these public events. He's talking about social media to try to get the public's favor for the Democrats' position. What's the Republican response to that? How do you attempt to do the same thing so that the public understands your point of view and you can elicit their favor as well?
The campaigns are over. Republicans are worried about solving the problem, and that's why we have proposed spending cuts as well as revenues, something that they've accused us for years of being unwilling to come to the table on. 4 months ago, the House Ways and Means Committee kicked out to the full body, which was then passed out of the House of Representatives, a fundamental overhaul of the tax code, a framework with fast-track authority that allows it to get through Congress next year. So we feel like we've done our work. At this point, we're just waiting for our partner in the negotiation to meet us.
Yet there's no solution at this time, and a lot of uncertainty for the American people. These challenges are so profound; they're so much bigger than any one of us. And I just wonder, in your opinion, is party part of the problem here? If you got these same individuals in the same room and stripped away their party affiliation, would we have a solution by now?
Well, I don't know that the parties get in the way as much as some firmly held beliefs. We don't believe the president's proposal to raise taxes by 5 by only making a 1% cut is going to do it. He's proposed 5-to-1 tax increases. That's not going to work. I don't know that that has much to do with a party as much as it has to do with our fundamental beliefs on the Republican side, that the revenue side of the ledger is not the primary problem. It's the out-of-control spending. And until the president and the Democrats come to the table, are serious about naming one thing they would cut, one program they would change to get to a balanced budget, it's very difficult to proceed. And so at this point, Republicans have played their hand. We've laid out the framework. We've got revenues on the table. We've got spending cuts, as well as our mandatory spending programs. We just need a partner to negotiate with at this point.
Congresswoman, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Look forward to having you back as we go through this process. Thank you.
Overseas right now, thousands of Palestinians are celebrating in the streets ahead of